How do I stay joyful and thankful during the midst of all of the holiday stress? Let's be honest, the holidays can be so stressful. There's all the family get-togethers to go to, Christmas parties, holiday shopping. Don't forget all of the Starbucks that's needed. Those peppermint mochas are needed almost on a daily basis. And if the holidays aren't enough, there's so much that needs to be done before December 31st. And if we're not careful, we can quickly get to the point where we just want the holidays to be over so we can move on with life. A season that's meant to be filled with joy and filled with thanksgiving can quickly become one that we dread and we just want to be done with it. I'm reminded of the words of Paul in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, 16 to 18, where Paul says, "Be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." And if there's anyone who had an opportunity to be anxious, to be fearful, to be stressed out, it was Paul because of his circumstances. He was a man that was beaten several times. He was in prison. He was constantly on the run from people who wanted to hurt him or even kill him. He was constantly hungry. And yet Paul had joy and Paul had thankfulness. Why? It was a choice. I believe that Paul focused on not how he felt, but what he knew. Paul knew that God loved him. He knew that God was for him. Paul knew that God had a plan and a purpose for his life, which is why in a cell, in prison, alone, Paul could write to the church in Philippi in Philippians chapter 4, verse 4, "Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say rejoice." Because to rejoice is a choice. It's not about the season that we're in. It's about how we respond to the season that we're in. And in the midst of this season, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays, it's all about choosing to put Jesus at the center of our lives. Paul said to pray continually. We do that by focusing on Jesus. Be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. This Christmas season, over the holidays, I pray that you have thanksgiving and joy simply because you choose it, because that's God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Be encouraged today.